Hi guys, I'm Ashley from Next World Exotics. John and I are going to start shooting some fun videos about tips and tricks and techniques that we do here at Next World. I'm super excited because I'm brand new as well. I've been listening to John talk about everything that he does here so much that I'm excited to jump in and experience it right alongside you guys. Today we're going to be doing a video on propagating, so it'll be air layering techniques and cutting techniques. This beautiful guy here is a Monstera Deliciosa small form, also known as an aurea, which means yellow. And this beauty here is just in the shot for fun because it's so gorgeous. This is a Monstera Deliciosa large form, sport variegation, and as you can see, it is a beautiful half moon. So I'm super excited to learn with you guys. Let's jump in and start propagating. Alright, let's get started. This is our Monstera Deliciosa small form aurea. Whew, I got that right. So if you take a closer look here, you can see that this is our aerial root, and then if I turn it, you can probably see you'll get a better shot. But this right here, this little like whitish bump, that's the growth point. So we also have a new pot of our soil mix. This is our
aeroid number one.
Aeroid number one. Thanks, John. Mix that we're going to use to pot this new root into. So what you want to do here is make a little hole for the new root to live in. And then very, very, very carefully, you're going to place the root in the hole. Get it into position so they're nice and close, and this is how you're going to leave them. And then you want to cover up that root. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So here we have a Monstera that we've already put into our aeroid number one mix. We did this about 2 weeks ago, so it should be rooted and ready to cut. And then the tools that we're going to use to do this would be cinnamon, sharp cutters, and then you'll also want a small cup of alcohol to sterilize.
Alright, so I'm going to do this because she's brand new to this, and
Yes.
we're not risking it on this Albo.
No.
So, people ask me, I do prop it up with another pot just to get it to the height up here, but I'm going to knock it all out to see if the roots are actually ready before I do this.
Should I hold it?
You should be okay. Just let it fall out. Okay, so this is not an ideal cut. This root has some feeders down the bottom, some terrestrial stuff starting. I'm going to cut it just to show you guys, but this is something
How do you know it's not an ideal cut?
There's just not enough other roots coming off of the main root.
Okay.
So the white fuzzy stuff, that's...
Show it towards the camera.
Oh. The white fuzzy stuff's actually doing things, but all this green stuff here is still has not turned into anything that's getting any nutrients or anything actually useful.
Okay.
This guy's a little better.
And is 2 weeks about average for being able to cut?
Yeah, we were cold for the last 4 days, Florida cold. So if it was probably 5 days of our 90-degree weather, this guy would have been ready to go. We're still good enough that it's a safe cut. It's not the end of the world, so I'm going to do it anyways.
Okay.
So what I do is I'm cutting behind these two roots. There's a decent cut point that leaves a node on this stem, the original stem, which I'll show you, so that I'm not stripping it of all active growth points. So I'm going to get in here and try to make this cut an easy way.
Weird camera angles.
Is it? And
We'll
you
get
do
better.
You do it fast, and you want it to be even, which I did not do because it was at a bad angle. So it's got a little jump in it, but I use cinnamon. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it. I just pack it on that wound That's all I do. Pack it on there.
What does the cinnamon do?
So it stops the water from getting in one because it'll dry on there
Okay.
and harden in there. And it stops water getting in. It also has antifungal, antibacterial properties.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I've used it for a while. You can actually use it as a rooting hormone too, which is kind of interesting. But I like it, so I just use it. So we're going to let this dry for a bit. Usually I'd let a Monstera dry for about 24 hours. We're not going to now because I'm not worried about that one. And that one's going to go into the hot room. But just to show you guys some other stuff, what I did here was I left this leaf and this leaf here, which means in here somewhere, should be back in here probably, bad camera angle, is another growth point and another growth point. So I did cut a bunch of plants off this one over time. So there are 2 living growth points down here. One's real tiny right there. But we should get 2 more plants from up here. And it's got really heavy white banding. So we should get very high white plants. And that's that. And I just leave it in a 3-gallon pot and we're good to go. So we get rid of this guy for now. Oh, no we don't.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Same thing.
So this sterilizes and it's like sterilizing the wound.
It's a protective measure. It's
Okay.
like Neosporin to me on the wound. I'm sealing it because that'll dry and actually rock up and harden in there.
Okay.
And it's just what I like. I mean, you can use Physan or any other antifungal. I just happen to use cinnamon and like cinnamon, so I stay with it. All right, so this guy, I'm not going to let it dry at all. I'm just going to do it now to show you guys. But I'm going back to the original pot and the original media. But I'm going to do a trick. So you get your roots down in there, and this guy's got a long root. What I'm actually going to do, I don't know how you're going to be able to see this.
I actually know this part because I'm good at potting.
She is
I am good at potting.
the potting savage. She can pot like 200 plants an hour.
It's true.
I am going to leave that cut actually out of the soil. I'm going to try not to even touch it with any soil, actually.
Why?
Just bacteria, fungus, etc. So this is only going to be like this for a couple days till that wound really heals up, and then I will actually switch it further down in the pot. It's got another root coming in now. So if you see what I did here, the whole cut's out of the soil. And I'm going to leave it similar to this. I'm going to put it back down a little further because I left it out too high. I'm actually going to start that again. Oh, sorry guys. I want to be able to pot it evenly later.
Will it be more stable this time?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more stable. I didn't leave enough room to pot it lower down in the pot. So it's gonna get more soil in a couple days. Let it acclimate. Since I cut it a little sooner than I would, I might lose some of the white on a lower leaf. If I had waited a bit longer, we actually might not have, probably would have lost any leaves, anything. So you can let go of that now and you'll see it's gonna be much more stable. And that's that. And
Pretty.
the cut is now out. It's not even in the soil at all because I did this too quickly. And that's all it takes. Oh, and just so you know, this tub I'm using, I sterilize this tub as well in between every plant that I do this with.
Okay.
So yeah. And then you'll see here too, this guy's torched right here. This happened a while back. I leave that because I want this plant to keep destroying leaves that's already started destroying during stress. I don't want to cut this off and still stressed and then go destroy this one.
And then it'll.
Right, so it'll just keep destroying that one and usually leave the others alone. It's usually your lower down leaves.
Now, what are signs to look for after you've done this? Like if you're completely new to it, that things are going well or things are not going so well?
I mean, if your leaves start drooping real bad, stems start dying off down here and getting black like this and starts running down your stems, you know, or it's just really just you'll get an appearance of, you can just look at them. Oh, I'll give you a better example. Here's one of an urea that I murdered. This was an overseas urea. This is what's fun about importing Monstera and why I try to not do it at all. So this guy came in, had some area roots, went down. It's rotted out actually. I usually go to LECA if it's my last resort, and it just rotted completely through. I stuck it back in LECA just to see what would happen. I might razor blade that and try again, but I think that's pretty much toast. Anyways, that's the fun of importing.
So if you're unsure about whether or not your plant is doing well, or if it's like a normal part of the process, is it bad to unroot them, to take them out to check the roots? Or
Yeah.
like, it's bad to unpot it.
Every time you yank it and put it back in, you're creating more problems. So if you're really unsure about what you're doing, I do use clear pots for orchids.
Okay.
And the orchid clear pots, you can see what you're doing. You don't want to use them forever because the roots go away from light. And in clear pots, you'll see, if you ever notice that they're green, your roots are really green, that's photosynthesis starting on the roots, and they'll go all over the place. So I usually wait till there's like, okay, there's a bunch of roots, and then I take them out of the clear pots and put them in a dark pot.
What about watering right after you do this?
On an Albo, that's wet enough. It's damp enough. I probably won't water this particular plant again for a week at least. If it was really rooted in there, like it had really good roots, which I'll hopefully show in another video, I would have, you can go ahead and water it.
Okay.
But this one really was kind of weak. This one's going to go in the hot room because I made that cut. I really don't want to lose any more of this. Normally it would just stay out at the nursery.
And you can't really see at home, but it's not really wet. It's slightly damp. It's kind of moist, so it's not like completely saturated by any means.
Yeah, if you're rooting Albos from straight aerial roots with nothing terrestrial, they like it very dry. When we do it here, we actually take them, mix moss and perlite at 1:1 into water, and then we squeeze all the water out, and then we pot them, and then we actually don't water them again for like 2 weeks. They get very, very dry, and usually by then you'll have some feeders started, and then you're in good shape. Obviously with this guy, it didn't work. It usually does, but that's the fun of Monstera.
Yeah. So the mix it's holding moisture. If you were to take like a handful of it and squeeze it, you could see water begin to like
That's the cocoa
bubble.
chip in there, which is great. It acts like a sponge.
Yeah, bubble at the surface of the cocoa chip or the moss, but it's not really wet at all.
Oh, and why not? Just for fun. This is my favorite sport Monstera. It just happens to be here. This one's called Gold Dust. Lighting's not the best for this guy, but I'll get some better photos. The new leaf's burning in. Anywho, that's that. All right, back to you, Ash.
Trying to think. I don't know if I have any other questions, so if you guys at home have any questions, please comment below or message us. We would be happy to help, and if there was anything you would like to see in the videos or in upcoming videos, please send that as well. We're excited to do more. I'm excited to do more. This is a new part of the process for me, so we'll see you next time.